Others who once ran Wall Street's leading law practice now hold the two most important posts in the Eisenhower administration, Foreign Affairs and CIA Operations. Alan Dulles, head of the CIA, also sits on the board of United Fruit.
Two brothers, one runs CIA, one runs the State Department, and their family law firm is involved with United Fruit in Central America.
Alan Dulles was running his own private CIA out of Wall Street, out of his offices at number 44 Wall Street. You got to understand something. It's spy business. It's about helping American business overseas.
Presidents found they could earn money from corporations by using the CIA as enforcers.
The CIA wrests power from Arbenz, replacing him with a military junta led by General Castillo Armas. The general's first move is to quash the land reform program, which threatens the financial interests of United Fruit and the United States.
It was probably one of the worst things the CIA or the U.S. government has ever done.
The United States government and the CIA are responsible for genocide in Guatemala because they put in power people so as to avoid a small tax on bananas.
They put in place a military dictatorship which for the next 40 years or so killed hundreds of thousands of people in Guatemala.
Everybody likes to think that that was CIA that did a very delicate operation against Arbenz. Okay. Or that they did a very well-planned operation against Mossadegh. Those were two lucky things that happened.
The U.S. treats the world as if it was the Godfather. They're very arrogant in their foreign policy.
In 1960, Congo claims independence from Belgium. Leftist leader Patrice Lumumba becomes prime minister. The United States has its eye on the country's vast mineral resources. Lumumba will stay in office just 2 short months.
This was a terrible example to set for the rest of Africa. It was shocking. And he sealed his fate at that moment. He had to be overthrown.
There was a meeting about the 18th of August of 1960, and Eisenhower gave an indication that it would be nice to have Lumumba out of the way.
I was arguing inside the embassy that we could oust Lumumba as prime minister.
But Alan Dulles interpreted this National Security Council meeting that he was given carte blanche to undertake a plot against Lumumba, which they did.
There were instructions to try and do away with Lumumba, and the poison toothpaste was sent to Larry Devlin, the station chief, and he refused to deliver it.
Our officers were not about to get involved in an assassination.
So I was arguing for a political solution, but there were those, I guess, in Washington who felt that other measures were more appropriate.
Alan Dulles ordered Lumumba's assassination. In 1975, congressional inquiry concluded that President Eisenhower had approved the operation. General Mobutu, who had seized power, had Lumumba shot in the head and dumped in a vat of acid. Frank Carlucci, future CIA deputy director, then U.S. Defense Secretary, was posted in Congo during the coup.
They accused me of being responsible for the assassination of Lumumba. It's all absurd, of course, the idea that a very junior Foreign Service officer would sanction the assassination of a prime minister is silly on the face of it.
He escaped from prison, and he was in hiding, and the CIA helped to find him, and then he was turned over to one of his main enemies in the Congo, and he was killed.
CIA was certainly a component in that. What you have to talk about is the way America was run in those days.
The CIA was asked to choose dictators and help them rule over the people.
There are certainly instances, whether they're in Guatemala in the 50s or the Shah, or early on, where people could argue that CIA involvement was wrong.
Well, whether it was right or wrong, that's a different matter, but that's what the CIA is for, to conduct clandestine operations.
There was an American belief or illusion back there in the 1950s at the time of the agency's involvement in Iran and subsequently in Central America that the CIA could accomplish anything on the international scene. This mythology was encouraged by people in the agency.
And this gave the CIA an aura of power.
That was a problem that after a while they began to believe their own myth.
They kept their position. They kept their money. They kept their power by being able to tell the President of the United States one thing. In the end, if you're really in trouble, we can come in and overthrow the government. We can come in and replace the government. We can give you that power.
The biggest problem with that is a lot of people at CIA believed it. They believed they were that good. So this guy Castro, I mean, this ought to be easy enough.
We thought we could just treat Cuba like a banana republic. And Cuba turned out to be a little bit stronger and a little bit smarter than the American bureaucrats expected.
Y nuestra, de todos, de los revolucionarios, de los patriotas, será la misma suerte. Y de todos será la victoria.